Gamescom 2025 has brought some very welcome news about Resident Evil Requiem. With a story and gameplay showcase now made public knowledge, there's a lot more to unpack about the new game than meets the eye. From likely occurrences in the game's story to gameplay tweaks that could up the ante for Grace Ashcroft as she encounters more horrors than she bargained for when she joined the FBI, here are some new details that we were able to glean from the recent gameplay showcase and the nostalgic look it gave us into Grace and Alyssa's time as mother and daughter. Let's dive in. Number 1. The new lighting system is more than just cosmetic. Grace's terrifying time in the game's demo brought something very interesting to light. We already knew that Requiem was going to be quite photorealistic, presenting the genre's trademark terrors with cinematic flair and a frightening level of authenticity. Its lighting systems were terrific additions, adding to the oppressive atmosphere the developers wanted to convey. But the new demo showcases that they could be important parts of the gameplay loop as well. Grace is shown turning on an overhead white lamp in a specific room as she is relentlessly pursued by the game's new stalker enemy. Surprisingly enough, the monster is seared by the light, immediately retreating from the room and giving Grace a brief respite from the chase. It's quite likely then that other enemies in the game could face similar negative effects, making the strategic use of lights in certain environments quite crucial to surviving the ordeal that's in store for all of us. It would be quite a smart way to utilize current gen power to amp up the experience on offer, and the RE engine seems quite up to the task at this point. Number 2. Eerie enemies. Requiem seems to be striking a balance between the original Resident Evil games and their modern counterparts, blending action and slower sequences with aplomb. Of course, that blend needs the right kind of adversaries to bring it all together, and this upcoming title seems to have that conveyed. The Stalker is terrifying, no two ways about it at all. Grotesque, imposing, and seemingly devoid of a shred of mercy. Its pursuit of Grace has been the highlight of several analyses of how the game delivers its scares. However, we just can't seem to shake the image of that monster from the story showcase. The dried up blood around its eyes and mouth as haunting as the way in which it killed the poor hotel manager, with no qualms and an almost bloodthirsty demeanor about it. If these two enemies are any indication, this is a game that makes us hesitate to take it on, no matter how eager we are to play it. Number 3. Ink ribbons don't save. It seems that the game is continuing with more traditional methods of saving your progress, with a tongue-in-cheek reference to ink ribbons included in this demo. Grace finds one hidden away, only for the item description to state that it's completely useless. Now, for those of you who are unaware, ink ribbons used to be an item available in limited quantities throughout the older Resident Evil games, adding a sort of layer of strategy to each playthrough as you needed to be careful about when using them to save. Perhaps there's more to that reference, and the studio is attempting some serious misdirection? Well, we'll have to wait to find out. Number 4. Parallel perspectives. While a lot has already been said on the relative merits of a first-person versus a third-person perspective in the game, we would weigh in by saying that both angles are equally terrifying, and perfectly viable ways of enjoying the game. It's really going to boil down to your preferences and how you choose to enjoy the experience overall. Our recommendation would be switching between the two, which seems to be quite seamless just as the game intended it to be. They are both equally terrifying, which is what really matters in a game like Requiem. Number 5. The more things change, the more that they stay the same. Although Requiem is bringing a lot of groundbreaking additions to the genre, it's still a Resident Evil title at its heart. You're still going to be making your way through locations, chasing down useful items and supplies, like healing herbs, while avoiding confrontations with the game's very terrifying enemies. It's nice then that there's a modicum of familiarity to offer us some sort of comfort, at least, in a game where safety and security are very, very valuable commodities. Number 6. A bond of blood. Now, it's time to turn our attention to the story showcase, and the flashback to Grace and Alyssa's time at the hotel. It's a great place to start. Grace is clearly unhappy with Alyssa's absence for an unspecified extended duration, but their relationship seems quite strong despite all that. However, the fact that they are staying at a hotel, coupled with Alyssa's response to the mysterious phone call that she receives, suggests that the two may have been on the run from someone or something. That's further solidified by the fact that Alyssa immediately reaches into her purse for a handgun, exhorting Grace to join her flight. That plan clearly goes awry, with the pair being attacked by the enemy we mentioned before, and Alyssa's apparent off-screen death. We're still not convinced that she's really dead though, a theory that we're going to dive into in just a minute. Number 7. Alyssa's pistol. Now, before we dive into Alyssa's presumed death from the trailer, let's talk about the gun she draws from her purse after the phone call. Now, it's quite similar to the pistol that Leon and Ada Wong use in Resident Evil 2, which opens up some interesting possibilities. For instance, we know that Alyssa's time with the Raccoon Press brought her in contact with the Umbrella Corporation's shady dealings. We also know that Resident Evil, where she made her first appearance, is set between the events of RE2 and RE3, titles that featured Leon, Ada, and Jill Valentine. Could the phone call she received be from one of these characters, whom she may have met during the course of her investigations? Well, once again, we're going to have to wait to find out if bringing some of the iconic cast from the past, or if that pistol is really just a clever reference. Number 8. The Stalker. With several recent Resident Evil titles featuring a stalker enemy in some shape and form, the one in this game could be as horrifying as it is for a reason. Now, we've already put Alyssa at the very top of characters that we would like to see making a return, speculating that having her alive would lend weight and emotional heft to Grace's harrowing journey, and give meaningful development for her character. The Stalker's blonde hair and its apparent obsession with Grace might very well mean that Alyssa's fate at the end of the story trailer was that she was transformed into the Stalker after the attack at the Wrenwood Hotel. It makes a lot of sense, and could be the catalyst for Grace finding the courage to face down her fears, spurred on by the hope of finding a cure for her mother's condition, and perhaps running into Leon along the way. Making the Stalker such an important part of the narrative could be an excellent way for Requiem to raise the stakes, and perhaps even help Grace become more than the fearful person she seems in the gameplay showcase. Number 9. Grace's potential character arc. Grace's personality could be a huge part of the story and gameplay in Requiem, with all evidence pointing towards a journey from the nerdy little girl she was in the story showcase to the terrified FBI investigator she is in the demo, to an eventual badass who takes the challenges in her way head on to attempt saving Alyssa if she is indeed the stalker. On the gameplay front, playing in third person sees her stumble and fall in fear as she flees the stalker's imposing presence. Her fear and apprehension an almost palpable part of the experience. That could all change as she finds her footing, seeing her become increasingly confident, if still a little bit terrified about the threats she faces. It could be the perfect way to tie the narrative and gameplay together, making her the glue that brings the entire experience into one cohesive whole. Number 10. Leon's continued absence. Leon's prominent absence from any of the new promotional material only makes us more confident that he stands tall among the aces that the game is holding up its sleeve, ready to spring a very welcome surprise on Requiem's players at some point during its story. The time frame of the narrative, coupled with Alyssa's flashback and perhaps even the pistol we mentioned earlier, are either clever foreshadowing on the studio's part or an absolutely brilliant attempt at misdirection. For our part at least, we're favoring the former over the latter. Bonus, a playable demo. If past games are any indication, it's very likely that the gameplay demo that was available for testing at Gamescom 2025 could be made available to players at some point after PAX and the Tokyo Game Show. While we would hope that it's substantially more than 20 minutes and includes a little more of the game, getting to experience the Stalker's pursuit for ourselves is certainly something that we want to do. And yeah, that wraps up everything new that we've been able to learn and glean, or at least guess, about Resident Evil Requiem so far. It's going to be a long wait until February 2026, but let's hope that the game continues to bring us new information to sink our teeth, pun intended, into. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.